This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Drive to deep center field. Going back, Hernandez at the track, right to the wall. Gone! Elvis Andrus!
And 29 other MLB clubs.
High drive, deep left field. Nino left the building.
Guerrero lifts one to left field and gone! Oh, Tony, that was a moonshot out there in the right center.
Alonso defends his title, the 2021 Derby champion.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from OPS Plus to juiced balls to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live. And boy, do we have a good show for you today. Coming to you live from Cleveland, Glenn Kuiper, TV face of your Oakland Athletics. We will talk to Glenn coming up here at 1:30. The head coach of Stanford baseball, as they're trying to get to another College World Series and play for a national championship. David Esker is going to be here. They start their super regional tomorrow against the UConn Huskies at Sunken Diamond. Good luck to the Cardinal. We'll talk to their head coach at 2 o'clock. Somebody's got to give college baseball a little love around here. Of course, David Esker, you always wonder, well, how does that tie into the A's? Well, David Esker was the head coach of Cal and was a big part of a couple guys' career who you know. Marcus Simeon, Mark Canna, ring a bell? Yeah, David Esker was their head coach at Cal before he was the head coach at Stanford. Also, he played Bay Area locally, played at Stanford when they won their back-to-back World Series titles in the late 80s. So he'll be here at 2 o'clock. And then the skipper from Cleveland, Mark Kotze, will join us at 2:30. We taped it earlier today in Cleveland. Well, he was in Cleveland. I was right here. Commander, you were at your spread in Japantown in downtown San Jose.
Yeah, it was an early one. Actually, it was actually a little later than normal. We did it at 10 instead of 9 a.m. So it was a late start for us. That's like Kotze's day is pretty much over at 1 p.m. Eastern.
By the way, I'm going to be honest with the public. I started out a little bitter. I was a little bitter Bill today, like Bitter Bill from Modesto on the A's Clubhouse show coming into the show. But I've reprogrammed myself. I'm fired up and ready to go.
I can attest, yes, you were, but that's okay. You know, things happen.
I was a little hacked off, as Glenn Kuiper likes to say, which I think is a great expression. But I'm back, Mr. Positive, ready to rock. Now, the A's are trying to avoid – I'm going to play something to get us all in a good mood, okay? I'm just going to read what's going on, and then I have something to get us all into a good mood. Do you think what I want to play will get us all into a good mood? I pretty much will guarantee it.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to play that in a second. The A's are trying to avoid a 10-game losing streak for the first time since 2011.
What happened that year?
Where were you in 2011?
I was in my second to last year of college in Pennsylvania.
Where was I in 2011?
Was that 95.7 The Wolf? Were they around yet?
I was doing A's baseball, I can tell you that. Whatever station we were on, I was doing, I was pretty much doing the same thing. 2011, that was the year that old Bobby Guerin got let go, Baltimore to Chicago, and in Chicago, it was Bob Melvin being introduced as the new skipper of the Oakland Athletics. The A's have lost 9 in a row, 12 of 13. During this 9-game losing streak, they've been outscored 57-18. Okay. With all that said, we got to have some good news. We got to have some positive news for you. So I want to say happy birthday, belated birthday, because I didn't know about this till last night when I was roaming around Twitter, and I found this. Friend of the program, he turned 71 yesterday. Let me take you back to 1989 It's the World Series. It's the Giants. It's the A's at the Coli. Take it away, Al Michaels. We're going to celebrate one of the greats of his era, the Cobra, Dave Parker.
Dave Parker to lead off in the bottom of the third inning. A's sending 8 men to the plate in the second. They lead 3-0 in game one. Parker, Dave Henderson, and Mark McGuire facing Scott Garrels. And the Cobra takes up high, ball one. Parker played in the World Series first in 1979, 10 years ago with Pittsburgh. And then last year, hit .345 in the 79 series. And then last year, 3 for 15 as the A's basically went into a collective slump against the Dodgers. And he gets a high drive to deep right field, and Dave Parker has hit his first World Series home run.
Coliseum's rocking.
In his 46th World Series at-bat, Dave Parker, who had 2 in the playoffs, hits one out, and it's 4-0.
Now, does that make you feel better?
If you're asking me, yes. I mean, I'm a Cobra fan. I mean, when we had him on last year, when his book came out, it was great to hear from him. I know, he's gone through some health stuff over the last couple of years, but to hear from him and to catch up with him, and a guy that I wasn't alive when he won a World Series with the Pirates the last time they reached the World Series, but to see a guy that helped the A's win a World Series in 1989 and catch up with him, it was awesome. Then when you sent me this, completely had no idea it was his birthday. So happy belated birthday.
71. Yeah, for me, that 1979 year is really the first year that I remember sports, that I can recall as a kid going, yeah, I remember that. I remember the Pirates beating the Orioles. It was really the year of Pittsburgh. It's when the Steelers took down the Rams, and Vince Ferragamo, Bay Area's own Vince Ferragamo, took down the LA Rams. It was a great year for Pittsburgh. Super Bowl, World Series. They were on top of the sports world. And, so as a little kid, I just, remember Bill Madlock and Kent DeColvey and those guys, Phil Gardner and those guys, and, of course, the great Dave Parker. So I just thought that would make everybody feel good. A little highlight. Al Michaels calling World Series baseball for what was that on?
I think ABC. Him and Tim McCarver.
Or NBC.
I think it was ABC.
I have whatever. ABC, NBC, CBS. It wasn't Fox. Fox wasn't around.
I just know Johnny Bench was on the radio call.
Yeah, because he was like freaked out by the earthquake.
Yeah, remember Tim McCarver told us he was like willing to jump out of the booth.
Which that can't. I mean,
I
you would be dead. If you've ever been to the press box at Candlestick Park, even though it's torn down, you jump out of the press box at Candlestick Park, you're not surviving that.
Yeah.
So good luck, Johnny.
Good thing you didn't. There was another good piece of news that came out today. I don't know if you saw it or not, but we announced that it came out last year, but we put it out when the date is going to be. The A's Hall of Fame. We're going to put 6 members in during a pregame ceremony on Sunday, August 7th, ahead of our game at 107 versus the Giants. All fans in attendance will receive a Rally Towel giveaway. Athletics.com/special events. But Ray Fosse, 4-time All-Star, Captain Sal Bando, Gold Glovers Eric Chavez and Joe Rudy, Special Advisor to Player Development Keith Littman, and recently retired Steve Vucinich.
I got the Vuce shirt on today.
We saw him last weekend.
I mean, everybody on that list, and we will play the tribute that Cleveland put together for Ray Fosse, even though it's more a video thing, but the audio will do it justice. I thought there was I'm not surprised what they did for Ray in Cleveland, because having been to Cleveland with Ray and the A's, he's one of the greatest Indians of all time. And yes, I know they're the Guardians now. Ray Fosse was an Indian. He was proud to be an Indian, and has his plaque out at Heritage Park, as he was named one of the top 100 Indians of all time. Call him Guardians now, but Ray Fosse would told you he was a Cleveland Indian. And I think it's just it's fitting. Everybody on this list has meant take Xavi out as a more recent player. Everybody on this list has played a huge part in the history of our franchise. Ray Fosse was the face of our franchise. When players come and go constantly, Ray Fosse was a backbone of this organization. I called him the face. I called him the face of the franchise because I meant it. Sal Bando is the original captain of the Oakland Athletics, the captain of a team that won 3 straight World Series. Joe Rudy, 3 straight World Series. Huge part of what the A's did in the 70s. Keith Lippman is in year 52?
I think it's higher than that.
53?
I thought he was like almost the same, around the same amount of time as Fosse.
It's 52, 53, at most 54. He's been with, but are you kidding me? 50 plus years with an organization? It is unbelievable. And the mentor that he has been to front office, coaches, managers, players. You want to talk about somebody, just go to our media guide. He's still in the media guide.
I know, but I was just looking to see if anything was on Twitter. He's been here since the 70s, so yeah, it's over 50 years. I just can't remember the exact.
I think it's 52, 53, 54, right around in there. I mean, that's incredible. And then, of course, Steve Vucinich has been with the Athletics in some form or fashion since they moved here in 1968.
52nd year, you're right.
Wow. And you know what? And you doubted me. You doubted me.
His first year, well, if it's the 52nd year, that would have been 1970.
You doubted my knowledge of the media guide and knowing our personnel.
So Foose started in 68, so he would have been 7, so 2 years under Foose. I said, you had it. I was 2 off. It's okay.
But I think it's just fitting everybody going in. And of course, I mean, Xavi, what he did with the Gold Gloves and, one of the great third basemen in this franchise's history. But this group of guys have all helped forge what Oakland A's baseball is all about, and they're truly part of the greatness that is the Athletics organization, going from Philly, Kansas City to Oakland. I mean, the years of service between Lippman, Vucinich, Rudy, Bando, and Fosse is unbelievable. Because let me tell you something, even though Sal Bando went on to be a GM, and even though Rudy has gone on to do whatever he's been doing, and we've had him on a few times, he's retired, they're all Oakland A's at heart. They built this franchise in Oakland. For whatever it's worth, they built it. They are Oakland A's. They are the Oakland A's. I know there's the group, you grew up with the guys in the late 80s, fantastic. Then you have the group, you grew up with the big three and Tejada and Giambi. And these guys set the foundation, winning 3 straight World Series. They're truly one of the greatest teams in baseball, and they were around it. When you talk about Fosse, Bando, Rudy, and then Fosse throughout his entire long career as a broadcaster, as an ambassador of the A's. That's awesome. Why don't we play what the Cleveland Indians put up yesterday on the board? Not everybody. So we didn't get to see it. It wasn't until it came back from commercial break. And it's one of the reasons why we're bringing on Glenn Kuiper, because Glenn puts a good face up, but I believe this has been the toughest series for Glenn. Glenn is somebody who spent a lot of time in Cleveland growing up as a kid, because his brother Dwayne, who we all know with the Giants, is a Cleveland Indian. And he grew up going there, watching Ray Fosse and his brother. And Fosse being his partner for all these years, I bet this has been very emotional for Glenn. Cleveland's one of as everybody goes, oh God, we go to Cleveland. Glenn loves going to Cleveland because it makes him think of his parents. It makes him think of his family. Cleveland's a very special spot. We will also talk about just not Johnny's, little Johnny's. Yes, I am one of the very few that has been able to have a beverage in Little Johnny's. Glenn Kuiper's it's his happy place.
I've never got a chance to drink at all in Cleveland. Every time I've gone to watch a game there, either when the Pirates are there or just to go check out Progressive Field, I wasn't 21 yet. So I do want to go back to Cleveland. I know a lot of people say they want to go to Cleveland. I just want to try out these bars I keep hearing about. I've been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Once. I went there once. It's great. The Elvis thing's incredible. The Prince, which I'm sure they've done more to. Was Prince alive when I went there? Was he dead? He might have been gone by then. So they had a big thing for Prince.
When'd you go?
It's a great question.
He passed in the last 5 years, I believe.
He might have passed by then. So they had a big thing for Elvis, big thing for Prince. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, if you love music, is no doubt a must go to.
2016, Prince passed away.
Okay, so Prince had already passed away by the time I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But I will say this. Don't ever need to go to Cleveland again.
I would only go if I'm in Pittsburgh and my friends want to go, or my wife wants to see Cleveland, which
I liked. By the way,
never heard my wife ever say, I want to go to Cleveland for vacation.
If I had to go to Cleveland again, the ballpark's nice.
It is.
The arena's right there.
Haven't been there.
Mickey Morbido. I think it's a Ritz-Carlton that we stay in. That Mickey has it all set up.
Ricky's right there.
Oh yeah. Hey, I put Ricky up today for good luck, just so everybody knows. It's on Ricky today to end the streak. I put Ricky right next to Ray. I'm doing everything that. So if you're listening on A's Cast, thank you so much. But if you're watching on Twitter, on the Athletics YouTube page, or on Twitter at AthleticsCast24, you can see I got Ricky front and center, bobblehead, let's rock. I was going to put Jose, because
Oh, there goes his bat.
There goes the bat.
We already had a casualty yesterday with the great Bill Walsh. We don't need another one.
I don't talk about it that much because it is what it is. But I think my guy is Jose. I love Jose Canseco. When I was in high school, Jose Canseco there was not great players. There was great players, Hall of Famers, but no one was better than Jose Canseco. Come on. I know, we know a lot more now about what happened.
I mean, I read his book. Great author. No, he wasn't really the author, but it was his book.
Jose Canseco was 40-40 in a season that mattered. Jose will be up here tomorrow. Well, we're not on tomorrow. If the losing streak is still here by Tuesday, and we're in Fenway Park, where it's Pakiaka and Harvard Yard.
You can't do Jose. You got to do Red Sox legend Raleigh Fingers.
He was a Red Sox.
Well, I told you after you interviewed Raleigh.
I forgot to ask about that.
We needed to ask Raleigh about being a Red Sox for
Red Sox legend. Now, the best was when the Red Sox were in town. I don't even know if you saw this. So, during one of the games where, oh my God, it popped up on, it was us, right? We had every game. There wasn't a national game.
Yeah, I think they were all on.
So NBC Cali puts up this thing, Red Sox players who are now managers.
Oh, yeah.
And you're looking at it and you're like, Bob Melvin? Now, unless a lot of you have forgotten the great Red Sox legend, Bob Melvin. How many years? Bob Melvin played for the Red Sox? I forgot to text Bob about this.
I promise we will get to the Ray Fosse.
We will. We got time.
No, not his managerial record. Red Sox legend Bob Melvin was he played 1993 to age 31, 77 games, hit .222, 3 homers, 23 RBI.
I got to text Bob and say, "Hey, you were honored as a Red Sox, as a Red Sox now managing in the big leagues.
Tell him he, next time I see him, Bob, you got to pick up that OPS plus 48. I mean,
hey, Bob was a backup catcher. You don't have to have numbers as a backup
well,
catcher.
he had a couple years of 100.
You just got
over 100.
to collect a check. All right. So 6 members going into the A's Hall of Fame. I'm so glad. I can't wait for the new ballpark. I don't even tell you about the rabbit hole I went down last night. Some of you on Twitter, you think you know. You think you know, but you don't know. You think you know, but you don't know. And a lot of you who are responding on Twitter to certain people, you think you know, but you don't know. That's all I'm going to say. As Brad Pitt playing Billy Bean said in Moneyball, you're just talking. Blah, 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 blah. You're just talking.
What are we talking about then?
A lot of people think they know, and well, why are they doing this? And if they were doing this, then why would that happen? And if they really cared about this, then why would they? You don't know. You don't know.
That could be another drop for Moneyball where he's
and then the article that came out in the Chronicle. Okay, I'm just going to say this. I don't know who that writer is. Do you know who he is?
No, I read it today.
Never heard of him. I don't know how long he's been here. And I'm not questioning his journalistic skills, none of that. But if you want to see, believe, and I can say this because I worked in San Francisco for over 20 years. If you're trying to say that there is not a media bias on the San Francisco side of the Bay Area than the East Bay side with Oakland, you scoff at that, you're wrong. You're kidding yourself. You're lying. And anybody else who would agree with that guy, I'm not questioning. I'm not going to say anything else about the article. Just the fact that when our side says, you cover us differently, you don't think that the coverage of everything that the San Francisco Giants have done over the years and the coverage of them in their new ballpark and the way Save the Bay and the way Ports and the way City Hall in San Fran, you're trying to say, that wasn't covered different than how Oakland and the A's have been covered, how Oakland and the Raiders have been covered, how the Warriors skipping town to San Francisco has been covered? You're a liar. And I would love, you want to fact check, you want to go into it? I would go into it any day of the week. But, of course, this person works for the Chronicle. What are they going to say? No, because if he actually agreed, he'd be going against his own paper and his own employer. God, I just got off track. What the hell was I talking about?
We were going to play the Fosse tribute eventually.
I know, but it led me to something.
We're talking about Ricky and Raleigh.
I was in the Twitter.
Oh, yeah, rabbit hole.
A lot of you don't know.
You're just talking.
You're just talking. And you know how I can say that? Is I've already lived this with the Raiders. Remember all the stuff? Can we go back to all the stuff that was said by people about the Raiders? How many of you actually admitted, wow, I was really wrong on that one. Wow, I didn't see that coming. Wow, I said that would never happen, and this would never happen, and that was a lie, and that was a lie. How did it play out in the end? How were you right? How many people were really right? Does anybody go back to check all the columns that were written about how it was going to go down, how it should go down, the predictions, and how they claimed this was terrible, this was wrong, this will never happen? Has anybody got back to fact check all the columnists, all the opinions, all the opinion pieces, all the hot takes on Twitter? Has anybody gone back to fact check all that and call everybody out, said, wow, none of you were right? Oh, yeah, the Super Bowl's in Las Vegas this year. The biggest entertainment event in the United States of America. Not sports. The biggest entertainment event in the most powerful country in the world is the Super Bowl, played in the United States of America, and it's being hosted by the Raiders in Las Vegas this year. Where's all the opinion pieces again? I read them all. I had to take all those phone calls about what was going to happen, what should happen. Where are all those big opinions and hot takes now? So once again, gangsters on the keyboard. Once again, Twitter tough guys. Go ahead. You're just talking. But now we want to play what the Indians did. Remember, this is awesome video of a young Ray Fosse. I know they're the Guardians, but then they were the Indians. He was a young Cleveland Indian, and it was just awesome to see the video footage they have of our beloved friend, the great Ray Fosse, and the tribute there at Progressive Field.
Born April 4, 1947 in Marion, Illinois, Ray Fosse began his baseball career as a three-time MVP for the Marion High School baseball team. His success didn't stop there when he was selected in the first round of the 1965 MLB draft by Cleveland. Fosse made his major league debut in 1967 at the age of 20, but it was in 1970 when his play truly elevated, posting 18 home runs and 61 RBI in 120 games and being named to the American League All-Star team. He would make the All-Star team in 1971 as well. Ray was traded to the Oakland Athletics in 1973, where he was a member of 2 World Series teams. He soon returned to Cleveland in 1976, playing 2 seasons before brief stints with Seattle and Milwaukee. His 8 seasons with Cleveland, Fosse hit 50 home runs, 230 runs batted in, 549 hits as one of baseball's best catchers. He was selected as a member of the top 100 greatest Cleveland Guardians franchise players. He will always be remembered as one of the best to ever play in a Cleveland uniform.
As I said earlier, I think he's put a very brave face on a lot of different things. And I'm pretty sure this has been the most emotional trip for him so far. As I said, Glenn Kuiper grew up going to Cleveland, grew up as, at that time, his brother and Ray were Indians. He grew up with his family going there to watch his brother Dwayne, who we've all known for a long, long time as a Giants broadcaster, Giants player. But Dwayne was a very proud Indian. And I know Cleveland, Glenn, has always been a trip for you to where everybody goes, we got to go to Cleveland. You love Cleveland because you grew up there. It makes you think of your family. It makes you think of all the great times for you as a kid running around Municipal Stadium in that town. And I got to think for you, this first trip back without Ray has not been easy for you.
Yeah, as much as I love coming here, it's different without Ray. I mean, Ray loved coming here so much, and he had a little extra bounce in his step when we came to Cleveland. So I miss having him here. I miss him every day, but it was special. I still love coming here, though. It's we're talking 45, 50 years ago, but still I remember so many little things about, coming to the ballpark and walking in the old Indians locker room and seeing all those guys and stuff. So I still go down and take a walk every time down by what's now the football stadium where the old park was, just to, I kind of remember where we used to park, just silly stuff like that. But I do love coming here. It's a lot of fun. I know, Tony, you were here with us 3-4 years ago and we had a lot of fun. But I tell you what, watching the thing they did on the scoreboard last night for Ray, that was hard. That was really hard. It was I had to kind of step back a little bit because we saw it, way before the game. They were running it, around 4:00 when we were getting our work done, and we all stopped and we put it on our phone. So that was tough. That was hard, but it was also fun seeing Ray, when he's 25 years old and sporting the Indians uniform. So. Yeah, mixed emotions in Cleveland this time around.
I'm so glad you guys came out of the commercial break and you brought it up because obviously us watching, you guys are in commercial when it's being played. So if you didn't bring it up, we would have no idea. And then luckily the Indians put it, or the Guardians put it up on their social media, so we were able to see it. And yeah, it kind of brings tears to your eyes and seeing, Ray as a young Ray Fosse. And as you mentioned, when I was there at the ball club, he wanted to go out, and I'll never forget, I went out with him out to Heritage Park to do an interview with him about his career in Cleveland, which of course your brother was a part of that interview because his plaque down there at Heritage Park is right next to Ray's. So I'll never forget that time. And I know how proud your brother is of having played for the Indians. And and of course, what you mentioned was just Ray.
Yeah. And they're both, they have plaques out there, the 100 best Indians players of all time. And I think in my brother's case, maybe one of the most popular, but they are. Dwayne's very proud of that, and I know Ray was super proud of it as well. And they played with the Indians, then Indians, now Guardians, at a time when they weren't very good. They did not have great teams, but they were kind of a group of guys who just were all grinders. They just, when it was all said and done as a team, they just did not have enough talent, but they had a lot of fun, so they made up for it in the clubhouse. And that's what I always remember as a kid is Ray's locker was just maybe 2 or 3 down from my brother's. And that's where I first met Ray. This was probably 1976, which would make me, 13 years old. And he put those big mitts around my hand. And I remember that. And he didn't like when I told that story because he said it made him feel old. But I said, well, I like telling that story because it's a memory that I've had, for 45 years now.
Yeah, you were a little kid running around Municipal Park, and there wasn't a whole lot of people around there.
No, there was not a lot of people in the stands, but to me, it was Game 7 of the World Series, sitting there watching these guys. So, I'll send you a picture, Tony, when we get off, a picture of that they took here in Cleveland of my brother and I when I was probably maybe 14 years old, and I had taken grounders with the team before the game, and somebody snapped a picture of both of us in our Indians uniform. So you know what, when we get off here, I'll send it to you. You'll get a good chuckle out of it.
That's awesome. Now, everybody on the road, when they go to certain cities, they've got a happy place. It's a place that you love. It's a place that when you go there, there's just something special. There's a place called Johnny's, but it's not Johnny's that's your happy place. It's Little Johnny's down the alley that's your happy place. Have we been able to get to your happy place since you've been in Cleveland?
What do you think, Tony? What do you think? Yes, we were there last night. We wallowed a little bit in another unfortunate A's loss, and so we were able to break down the game, have a few cold beverages, and we had a lot of laughs. You know exactly where we were. Indeed, Little Johnny's Bar. It's our big stop. There's a good chance we'll be there tonight, and there's a good chance we'll be there tomorrow night. We'd like to be celebrating a win, though. But it's we have a lot of fun in there. We laugh a lot, talk about the game, talk about the A's, talk about sports. And you know what? When you're on the road, as much as we are, in all seriousness, Tony, you need some places like that maybe get you away from work a little bit and allow you to just kind of, just laugh a little bit, have a couple drinks. And it sort of helps you get through the road trips, because sometimes these road trips get a little long and, you're away from your family and that kind of thing. So those pit stops certainly help.
And what's very similar is when I was with you at Little Johnny's last time, the Warriors were also in the NBA Finals. So
that's right.
So you got Warrior basketball going on there. And we know how much people in Cleveland love Steph Curry and the Warriors.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Don't bring up that name. They'll be ready to fight you. But you think about where we're headed to, Tony. We're going to Boston.
Yeah.
So we're going to be in Boston for Game 5, which will be obviously back in the Bay Area. And then I believe Game 6 would be Thursday, and we would be heading out of town, a day game in Boston for the A's and the Red Sox. So we're going to be right in the thick of this thing, this NBA Finals thing. So it's going to be very, very interesting. we're going to get a lot of that Boston attitude, I think, in the 4 days we're there. So that'll just make it a little bit more fun, because Boston's a great stop, great sports town and stuff. So we're looking forward to getting there as well.
It's funny in our job, people will say during times like this, they just go, how do you do it? And I'm looking at the notes, and it's like the last time the A's had a 10-game losing streak was 2011. And you and I, what were you doing in 2011? Oh, we were doing the same thing. So it's not like we haven't been through this before. You've been on television, and I've been on one of the random radio stations we've been on over the years. So we've done this before, but you know what? This is kind of baseball. Like, people have gotten used to, like, the Yankees have had this unbelievable run where they're in the postseason every single year. It just doesn't happen that way. Most all franchises, you have your winning years, then you'll have some years where you don't. It's like, you got to, like, remind people that this is not our first rodeo. We've done this before.
No, and unfortunately, we had a 9-game losing streak earlier this year. So, we have been through it. But I think that the important thing, Townie, too, is I know you understand it, and we're all fans of the A's. We want them to win. But you can only allow that fandom to go so far in your work, because that's not your job is not to be a fan. It's to present the game, have some fun with the game. You hope your team wins, but they're not going to win all the time. And some years are better than others. So, we are fans and we want the team to win, but you can't go home and let the outcome of a game emotionally pull you one way or the other in baseball, because there's just too many games. So you forget about it. You move on to the next game. You prepare. You get excited. I mean, I'm excited at first pitch every night. It's just the way it is. And what happens in the game, let it happen. Let it play out. We'll tell you what's going on. But you just cannot you can't let the outcome of a game affect you too much, because it'll wear you out if your team's having a bad year.
In Atlanta, we had Chip Carey on, and we were talking about the Carey family, as now Chip's twins are doing play-by-play. Of course, his dad and his grandpa, the great Harry Carey. And then we're like, well, we got the Kuipers in the Bay Area, and we started talking about all the Kuipers. And then I went, wait a minute, Glenn's son, though's a football player. Is this his senior year football? Jack's senior year?
He is, He's turned into more of a rugby player now than football. So he's kind of shifted his gears toward rugby in the spring. So, but this is his senior year. I don't know I don't think he's going to be a sports announcer. He wants to go to school down south. He wants to get out, have a little more acreage, maybe get out of California. But he's going to be a senior. So we're looking forward to his senior year. We're not looking forward to him leaving, but welcome to life, right? Just make sure he's ready to go when the time comes. But
if you thought he was on the payroll, once he leaves, he's really on the payroll.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're starting to have those conversations, actually. Yeah.
And you just thought, well, I may retire. Oh, wait, you know what? I think I'm going to be doing A's baseball for a few more years.
Yeah, that college tuition thing, that's not getting cheaper.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, let's end on this. And I just, I've known you for a long, long time, and our careers have passed through so many different ways, and I have so much respect for what you've done in your career and really what you're doing right now. It's not easy to go from a partner that you had from all those years to now make it seamless with Dallas Braden. And there's a lot of emotion with losing Ray. And I know also for Dallas, replacing Ray is not easy. Just the work you have done, that's really tough. It's tough emotionally and tough to do it every single day. And a lot of people don't know it. I know it. And I just want to commend you for the job you've done this year. It's one of the best of your careers.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very kind, Townie. It's a different year. I mean, it's hard because I really do miss Ray a lot, but I've been blessed with Dallas Braden, and Dallas is really, really good. He's really talented. He works really hard. He doesn't take this for granted. He understands how hard the game is, but he works hard, and we do have a lot of fun together. I hope people understand that. I hope they're okay with that. it's important to have fun with the person that you're working with. When you're doing 150, 155 games, I hope, people understand that you got to laugh some. You got to have some fun. And Dallas is a lot of fun. He's got a great sense of humor, and we enjoy working together. And we both miss Ray, and that'll never change. But he's with us each day, and we do think about him a lot, especially before the games. Sometimes we'll tell a Ray story just to make us laugh and get us through it. But I appreciate the compliments, Townie, and you know how I feel about your work as well. You're Uncle Townie to all of us. So when we have problems, we just call you.
Well, when you're at Little Johnny's, think of me.
Oh, we will think of you. Maybe we'll send you a photo. How about that?
Send me a photo. Take one back for me.
All right. See you, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Have a good call tonight.
All right.
The great Glenn Kuiper. Yeah, I mean, tough. Really tough. Like all of us, last time we saw Ray was when the paramedics were taking him out of the press box. That's the last time Glenn saw him. It's the last time I saw him. That was it. There was no goodbyes. It was just, he was gone. And when that's your partner who you've traveled the country with for all these years, and you got to put a good face on it, and you got to develop the rapport with the new partner and have respect for you, the audience. I knew when they came back from that commercial break and Glenn was talking about that video that the Guardians put up, I could tell the emotion. This has been he's been very professional as always, and this has been a very tough series. Not a lot of people are going to bring it up, but I will. He deserves credit. We should really appreciate the professionalism that Glenn Kuiper is showing us night in and night out, but especially in this series, because it is not easy. Because when you go to Cleveland, let me tell you something. You get out, you get off the bus at the Ritz-Carlton. No one gave a crap about Matt Olson or Matt Chapman. Everybody, there's a bunch of fans there, and they all had Ray Fosse stuff. Ray Fosse's a star in Cleveland. I'm telling you, you got to. And when you walked into that press box, he knows everybody. Knows everybody. I got a story for you. You'll like this one, Cody. He brought in, and it might have been the guy that narrated the video. I can't remember the guy's name. But I've talked about my grandfather, and it's really my connection to Ray. A lot has through my grandfather, because I didn't get to know my grandfather. Ray kind of filled that void for me. It was very special. I haven't talked a lot about it, but so there it is. There was why I had so much love for Ray. Ray found this man and brought him to me. My grandfather played in that World Series in 1948. The last World Series the Indians won. I always talk about how my grandfather won the MVP in 1947, but he played in that World Series in 48. My grandfather hit 2 home runs off Bob Feller in that World Series. So Ray brings this man in and goes, Ray goes, this is the guy I've been telling you. This is Bob Elliott's grandson. And the guy's like, he goes, Bob Elliott was your grandfather? And he starts talking about the 48 World Series. He was an older guy. Hopefully he's still with us. And was talking about breaking down the World Series of my grandfather, because my grandfather dominated the Indians in that World Series, but the Indians would win. And think about that. Ray Fosse went and found that guy to come talk to me in the press box in Cleveland. Ray took me around all over Cleveland at the press. He took me down to Heritage Park, which is in center field. We did the interview. Ray took me all around the ballpark, introduced me to everybody. It was unbelievable. Ray, it's almost like as big as Ray is with us. Trust me, when we brought Ray out to the treehouse, whoa, there was a major crowd. Wherever Ray went, there was a crowd, right? But that was the same way in Cleveland. They, on their big video board, before every game, they play a highlight reel, just like we do, of the great times of Oakland A's baseball. Well, guess what video they have before every single game? It's 2 former A's, Eck throwing the no-hitter and jumping into Ray Fosse's arms. They play that before every Indians game. So if you're an Indians fan, young or old, Ray Fosse is up on your video board before every game. He's one of their legendary players. So when he went there, they treated him like that. Remember, this is Cleveland. Cleveland is a great sports town. They love, unless it's LeBron, it's a love-hate relationship. Everybody else, they love their players. They love Cleveland Browns. They love Cleveland Guardians, Indians. Like Bernie Kosar is still a legend there. Like if you Otto Graham, my God, he won 8 championships. Jim Brown, but Otto Graham won 8 championships as a quarterback. They didn't have Super Bowls back then. They had all kinds of names. So Otto Graham won, I believe it's 8. No one's not even Tom Brady has won more championships. Football's not great at honoring their past.
Half our audience is going, who the hell is Otto Graham? I mean, I know who he is because I'm just a nerd, but how many did he end up winning? 3 NFL championships.
4 AAFC championships. I mean, this is 46 through 49.
Yeah, 7 titles he won.
That's 7.
Tied with Brady.
I gave him 1 too many. But he didn't even play in the NFL until in the 50s and still was a 3-time NFL MVP. Otto Graham is one of the great quarterbacks and punters of all time.
You know, there's one guy that they're all trailing behind, and I've been waiting forever to play this drop. There's one guy that they're all behind.
Wait, hold on. In what?
Championships won.
What's any sport?
Any sport.
Okay.
When you're talking
the
about
most championships ever won, I think I know who you're going to, but he does not have the most championships.
Well, anyway, when you're talking about
you're
talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun.
That'd be the nature boy, Ric Flair, with 16 world titles. Step your game up, Brady. How many more years are you going to play?
He, as much as Hulk Hogan fought for our country, as the Macho Man, my guy was Macho Man, who later would become Macho King. He beat King Haku to become Macho King. There's a lot of guys that were great in the interviews that made the WWF back in the day, which then became the WWE. But nobody was a better entertainer than the nature boy Ric Flair. Nobody. Nobody since. The closest guy is The Rock.
Yeah, I was going to say The Rock, for sure.
But he still was not better than Ric Flair.
No.
Ric Flair's monologue. They were monologues. He would just keep going and going and going and going to where The Rock was great. The Rock was great with the crowd.
Yes, he worked the crowd so well.
Right. And but when he did that, if you go back and you watch the difference between Flair and The Rock would work the crowd. There was a lot of pauses. He'd do the eyebrows. Crowd goes nuts. These were in studio, old school.
Yeah.
Mean Gene Okerlund, or then the other guys who were part of the Southern League, what was TBS League, whatever it was.
No, it was an NWA.
They were in a small studio with a small audience. They weren't in an arena. A lot of the Rock stuff was in arenas, in the back of arenas, so they weren't that long. Nature Boy's given these are long form interviews in a studio where it's like, how does he keep going? How does he have the breath in his lungs to keep? I mean, I as a performer, and I love The Rock. Love The Rock. Played for
Miami.
The U.
The one thing about The Rock too.
Under.
That would have been Jimmy Johnson.
Dennis Erickson.
Oh, Jimmy Johnson was before him. Sorry.
Well before him.
No, what the thing about The Rock too that made him so great is
The Rock says
he worked the crowd and he'd always do the finally.
Yeah.
And then he'd always insert the city name and got a cheap pop, as we fans of wrestling would call it.
The Rock has come back to Orlando.
Yeah, and everyone would go crazy, and it just he did something. Then what is your name? It doesn't matter what your name is.
He's fabulous. His Hall of Fame speech, The Rock's Hall of Fame speech, was phenomenal. Oh, The Rock. I mean, he's a movie star. He's The Rock. Some people want him to run for president. He's The Rock.
I'm pretty sure he's the highest paid. He made the most money in Hollywood last year, one of these last couple of years. Most money made in Hollywood because he was in like 900
I bet he's
movies.
made the most money many years.
Yeah, he's in like 900 movies every year.
The Rock says, but nobody doing the interview, the wrestle interview, the fake commentator with the wrestler, nobody was better than Ric Flair.
To be the man, you got to beat the man. Woo!
Limousine driving.
The limousine
riding.
riding.
Jet flying, son of a gun.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun.
They all stole from him. He was the original guy to do this, right? He was the original guy to be, I'm rich, I'm famous, I'm the champ. He was the original one. They all stole from Flair. Flair was doing this in the 60s.
His time's numbered, though, because his daughter, Charlotte, in WWE, she's won 13 titles.
How old is Ric Flair?
He has to be in the 70s.
He's got to be.
I want to say he's
way older than Hogan. By the way, do you remember when I interviewed Hogan at 95.7 The Game in studio?
Yes, Flair's 73.
Oh, my God.
Hogan's
the late 60s.
Hogan, yeah, and I always draw a blank on what his real name is. Terry Bolla. 68. Born in Augusta, Georgia, but he's booked from Venice Beach, California.
He's not from Venice Beach, Hulk Hogan is not from Venice Beach?
Well, when he was in WCW, he was Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Was he born at the Masters in Augusta, Georgia? Oh, by the way, the 6'7" thing. I hate to tell you, wrestling fans. We're in studio. WrestleMania. What year was WrestleMania in Santa Clara?
It'd be 2015.
They bring in Jimmy Hart.
We were both Mouth of the South.
Mouth of the South. So they bring him in studio, Hogan. Hogan tries to say, well, I've had back surgery. Hulk Hogan is like 6'1". There's no way he's 6'7". Not even close. I don't care how many discs have been removed from his back. You don't lose that many inches in your back. He's still a monster guy. He's a big dude. He showed us where his biceps both ripped when he picked up Andre the Giant in WrestleMania 3.
I remember that, yeah.
I
don't remember it live, but I remember watching it.
I watched it live when I was a little kid. It was the highest pay-per-view of all time, where Andre, and he admits, Andre had to jump into his arms, and for him to hold Andre, it ripped both his biceps. And once you rip that hole in your biceps, there's nothing you can do after that. The 24-inch pythons, as he liked to say, brother.
Do you know Jimmy Hart's like 80?
Yeah, I saw him in studio a few years ago.
I know, but he's you would never think I'd look because he still has a great head of hair. He always carries around the megaphone.
Well, it's obviously dyed.
Wow, shots fired.
Yeah. People say that to me all the time. You dye your hair. No, I don't.
I remember you and Billy Bean talked about your hair on the field.
I don't. And if I ever do, I will admit to it. I will not be a guy who's like 56 years old, like we may know, who's got jet black hair. I will never be that guy. Oh. I have a Veda grooming cream. You can still see that I have some grays.
I don't see any.
You don't see any?
No, but I'm not looking close enough. That's just weird for me to keep staring at your head.
Well, I'll wash my hair and prove it to you. I do have some gray, but it's the Aveda grooming cream. Aveda, check it out. It's fantastic.
If this isn't
I will dye my hair. I will not be above that. But I still want to have some gray. It's like Bob Costas in his 70s, and he just has a little gray hair.
I told my wife, when I go gray, I'm not dyeing it.
You wear a man bun. You don't care about what you look like.
That's one thing I was going to say. I wish Fosse was here so I could ask him.
If you Fosse would have brought scissors in and cut your hair.
He always said my beard looked nice, but I can only imagine what he'd say about the man bun.
I swear to God, if I didn't shave 2 days, because I really don't grow, if there was just a stubble, Fosse had an issue with it. For my appearance, Fosse was always on my appearance. He expected me when I showed up to the yard to look professional.
Yeah, he should have had a suit on.
Oh, it'd be a tuck your shirt in. When we were on the road, Fosse always made me sit next to him on the bus.
Sure, do you have a tie on too?
No.
Wow. I'm sure Ray did.
Ray never wore.
Actually, I don't think I've ever seen Ray in a tie. It was
Yeah,
always...
he had ties on back in the day doing, yeah.
Oh, but I meant like recently.
They've laxed over time on the A's broadcast.
It's more collared shirt or polo or.
Oh, yeah. They have laxed big time. By the way, I have a note for you on this game. Who's coming up next?
We got David Esker.
Coach Esker. Where is Stanford? I forgot to ask. Where are they even ranked? And which it doesn't matter.
They're the number 2 seed right now. There's only one team better than them.
Who?
Number 1 was I'd have to look. I sent it to you the other day.
Number 2, Stanford at number 2 in the country. That kind of brings back a memory. Why is Stanford ranked number 2 in the country? Bring back a memory for me.
Because you beat them when they were number 2.
Oh, that's right. I beat them at Sunken Diamond when they were number 2 in the country.
Look
it up.
This is the seeding, but the number 1 seed that's still left is Tennessee. They were 56-7.
Ooh, 56-7.
Stanford was 45-15.
Can you bet on college baseball?
I don't. Probably.
Because if you could bet on college baseball and they were 57-7,
56-7,
56-7, you would have won a lot of money, even though every night you were paying a premium.
Yeah.
Did you know we got the gambling thing in an email? Did you see that?
I saw, but I didn't get a chance to read it yet.
I just saw it. I was like, what is this? Because it's still, for me, a little weird that I see MLB Network has gambling shows. I see that baseball is full-on connected to DraftKings and MGM, but yet we got an email saying we can't gamble. We can't gamble on baseball, which obviously we all know. We can't gamble on softball.
That's real. If you're gambling on softball, you're a degenerate.
I didn't know you could gamble on softball.
You can gamble on anything, it seems like.
So if you can gamble, you're gambling on college softball?
Just bet on Oklahoma. They won the national title last night.
Well, I mean, if you can bet on college softball, you could bet on college baseball.
I texted you last night because I heard a caller on postgame mention Jocelyn Aho. She is the all-time home run champion in baseball and softball, not just softball. That's incredible.
This woman for Oklahoma, if you want to teach somebody about how to use the ground as leverage, we talk about that with home run hitters in baseball. We talk about that in golf, where you use the ground as your leverage. She uses the ground as good as anybody. She's all over YouTube. She hits bombs, like bombs. It got brought up in the A's Clubhouse show to why not sign her?
122 career home runs in college. That's remarkable.
And they're not cheapies.
No, they're mammoth home runs.
I just, the thing that always gets me about people when they talk about the two sports, it's not apples to apples. Like men's basketball, women's basketball, yes. Tennis, golf, softball and baseball are so different. The equipment's different. Like you could say the women's basketball is a little bit smaller than the men's basketball, but still the hoop size, court size. Golf, the golf ball can be a little bit different, but I mean, tennis, track and field, whatever. Softball and baseball are really, even though there's a ball and a bat, they're really different sports dramatically.
I agree with that, yeah.
Field size, bases, pitchers. The ground, the mound is a flat ground. Pitchers, everything's coming right by their hip to where pitchers are on mound, everything. You have side armors, but mostly everything's coming from up here. I mean, it's really it's similar sports, but they're not. They're not two you should not compare.
No, and what's crazy too is with the game last night, they put Alo in the field. She hasn't played in the field since February.
She a DH?
So I think she essentially was DHing, but they put her in the field, in left field yesterday. She made an out. I know she made the first out. I can't remember what happened in the second out. And then they took her out with 2 outs for a curtain call. And she just hugged everyone, and that was it. Her career's over.
She's the greatest player in the history of the game?
Women's softball, I would say so.
What's her name? Jenny
Finch? Yeah, she was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, softball, I like watching those especially it's always on ESPN2, and the pitchers blow smoke.
Yeah, they're good.
Oh,
my sister was a really good softball. My sister was a really good softball player.
Yeah, this isn't like beer league softball where they're throwing up and guys are just trying to hit the ball 8,000. I mean, this is it's an art form. Softball's great. Softball's a great sport. It's just, I'm telling you, baseball and softball are not. Would you agree with that?
I do.
I don't think they're very similar. People trying, could a softball player or a baseball player? The sports are different.
I watched it from firsthand because my sister is a few years younger than me. My sister was getting recruited to play at different high schools and a couple colleges in 8th grade. There were high schools that were trying to get her to come play for their high school in 8th grade. Now, my sister essentially grew up to be me with longer hair, but the body size we were built the same. But my sister was an unbelievable softball player and track and field discus and shot put thrower too. The superstardom in the Elias family clearly fell on her hands when it came to softball and other sports. I'm good behind a keyboard and fighting stats.
Coming up next, we're heading to the farm, talking a little Stanford baseball and the Super Regional next, right here on A's Cast Live.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
August 6th is International Trading Card Day, and Topps wants to celebrate with you. Visit your participating local hobby shop, where you will receive a free pack of cards, plus a special card if you purchase $10 or more of Topps products, while supplies last. Post your packs on social media using the hashtag ToppsITCD, and follow along with @Topps. Visit Topps.com for more information.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number one mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity Internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
Hey A's fans, we've got a great deal for you. Get 4 tickets and parking for all Friday night games starting at just $39. Pick from great matchups, post-game fireworks and drone shows, giveaways, and more.
Outside corner, ring him up. And Eaton can't believe it.
Grab the crew and head to the Coliseum with friends and family any Friday night this season. 4 tickets and parking starting at just $39 for the whole group. Tickets are available at athletics.com. That's athletics.com.
Innovation that's at the heart of Cal State East Bay, like at our Green Biome Institute, where faculty and students map genes from California's endangered plants, or how we open doors for local entrepreneurs at our Small Business Development Center. From educators to nurses to STEM professionals, Cal State East Bay has real impact throughout the region's neighborhoods, boardrooms, and entire economy. Be part of the innovation. Connect with Cal State East Bay at csueastbay.edu/impact.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
You know, it just bugs you when you have Google and Gmail. You're out of space. I've deleted literally thousands of emails. How am I still out of space?
I don't know.
Because they want to charge you more for more space.
I didn't notice that was a thing until I saw your email earlier when I set up the show for us today. And I'm like, wait, how are you out of storage?
Seriously. And I've just erased so much, and I keep getting more. It's annoying. But enough about me. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, yeah.
Let's rock.
All right, so show your pride and celebrate Glenn Burke Pride Night at the ballpark on June 17th. That's next Friday, a week from today. $5 from every ticket sold will benefit the Oakland LGBTQ Center, whose mission is dedicated to enhancing and sustaining the well-being of LGBTQ plus individuals, their families, and allies by providing educational, social, and health-related activities, programs, and services. Early arriving fans can get a commemorative Glenn Burke Pride Night hat, which Townie's holding right now, presented by Gilead as the A's take on the Kansas City Royals. Tickets are available at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets. Next Friday against the Royals at the Coliseum, Glenn Burke Pride Night, athletics.com/tickets. As you can see the hat right there.
What do you think, Ricky?
Yeah, Ricky likes it. Great underbill.
Ricky like it?
And we want
seriously.
And we want to thank Gilead for sponsoring that.
It's a fantastic hat. We've been joking around going when we were growing up, when we went to the ballpark and we got the hats with the tickets, they fell apart by the time you got home, or you wore them like a couple times, they were done. These are really made well hats. You see the underbill. It's fantastic. Well, we want to keep you updated on what's going on in our area, college baseball, the future of Major League Baseball. These are the best teams that are left. Stanford, a premier program, starting tomorrow. They're super regional against UConn. The Huskies come to town. David Esker knows a lot about A's baseball. He's had quite a few of his players play for the A's, including guys like Mark Canha and Marcus Semien when he was the head coach over at Cal. He went to Stanford, won the national championship at Stanford multiple times as a player, then coached at Stanford, got the job at Cal, and then came back to his alma mater, and he just continues to win. Here's David Esker, head coach of the Stanford Cardinal. Congratulations, Super Regionals are going to be there at your yard on Saturday against UConn, and you've kept your alma mater rolling, and it's great to see.
I appreciated that, Chris. I appreciate it. Yeah, we've had to pull one out on Monday night. It was right down to the wire, but our team had played great throughout the weekend, and you know, the crowd was just electric, which Sunken Diamond was just as loud and as energetic as I've ever seen it. And I know they carried us. So once we get those two homers, I think the whole team was levitating with that energy at Sunken Diamond.
And what's, so ever since they put the super regionals in, it's made it such a different dynamic, because now it's like, before you got through, then you went to the College World Series. Now they threw this extra round on. How has that just changed it over the years?
Well, hey, once you get to the 16, right, there are no soft weekends, right? All 16 teams are capable. And, it kind of gets you back to the style of play you're used to, which is 2 out of 3 weekend series. The regional can get away from you a little bit, like it did for us. I mean, we played 5 games in 4 days, and you're usually not built for 5 games in 4 days, but it'll push you to that limit if you get into the losers bracket. So going from tournament schedule to super regional, which is just normal weekend schedule, it's a challenge, but it kind of gets you back on track. You probably don't stretch your pitching staff as much as you would during a tournament weekend.
How much will you prepare for UConn from a standpoint of scouting reports, video, or how much of it is you've gotten this far, this is who you are, this is what we do, combination? Just take us through how you guys will prepare.
Well, first of all, my coaching staff is without peer as far as preparation, and it is a lot of video work. It is a lot of charting. It is a lot of just digging into the statistics. It is a lot of looking what matchups are like. It's kind of digging down to what their offense is, how they run their offense, what their strengths are and what they do in certain situations, up by a run, down by a run, what their pitchers are throwing and sequencing. And hopefully if there's a little crack and something we can take an advantage of, whether it's the running game or, playing short or, just moving runners and just an advantageous count to kind of run, they'll have a plan for us. And like I said, what is probably the X factor, I always say in winning, you got to pitch and play defense. And for us, it's pitching and defense. We talk about always having a different hero every night, but the X factor is the preparation that my coaches put in. And we could not be anywhere over the last 4 years that I've been here at Stanford without just the dedication and tireless preparation and almost to the point of exhaustion. So, I'm always coming into the office, watching them work, just their eyes just bloodshot looking at video. And, I come in and I bring them a pizza or something to eat just to keep them going.
Yeah, it's just so different from when you and I were playing back then in the day. And obviously you were part of the national championships, and I was kind of right after you at San Jose State. And, they give you a packet. You knew guys' numbers for the other team. But,
yeah.
I mean, and it's just amazing the difference from, I think college baseball was even ahead of Major League Baseball when it came to video and using TrackMan and these types of things. But just talk about how the world so much has changed because of technology for you guys.
Oh, you're right. It has gone just from trying to get as much information you could from a stat sheet, right? You would get statistics and you would just try to find whatever information you could, whether they ran or strikeout to walk ratio and, the guys who were hot versus not hot in the last 10 games. To then it progressed where, we literally would take the play-by-play sheet from the box score and start charting, when a guy says guy grounds to shortstop, you're just charting where on the field they're making their outs and where they're getting their hits and trying to find some information that you can. And now it's video, it's TrackMan, it's spin rate, it is location, it is quadrants, it is, filters to I want to see all their two-strike swings off of right-handed breaking balls, and they, you get on a website and it draws them all up for you and pulls them out. It's spray charts that are at your, you can get to those spray charts. And then it's, I don't know how much we use it, but it is a possibility. It is virtual reality glasses that you can, if they're in their library and they have certain pictures, they'll have them 3D. You've got these virtual reality glasses and they're delivering pitches and you're able to track pitches and work on timing, with those Oculus Prime glasses. And it's crazy what's at your disposal now. And it's just, you've got to commit to some of those things. If you just use them, haphazardly, it's garbage in, garbage out, right? But there's a few things you'll commit to that you think can move the needle to help get you better prepared. And a lot of this is, right, if it moves the needle just a little, it's worth it.
Well, I love hearing all of it. It's great stuff, especially as you said, if you use it correctly. But then as a head coach, you've got a lot of smart guys. I mean, obviously, I've always known the Stanford guys pretty bright. You look at the degrees they're getting, and sometimes they made this generation, I don't know, you tell me, but this generation's bright kids maybe get too much into this. How much do you have to rein them back and be like, hey, it's still the little things that win baseball games?
Well, it's still about baseball, right? It's the training. And you're right. You get some smart kids and you pump them with information. They start to think baseball is more of an equation rather than a physical performance, right? And we still it is a confrontational game that is physical, and it is about me versus you. Now you can get yourself prepared so you have a good chance of winning that battle. Sometimes too much information, you get too much brain into baseball. That's not good either, right? But if there are certain things that we as coaches can become aware of that will help us in our training to answer questions and roadblocks that certain players are having, trying to get the best of their performance. We don't share all the information with them because I don't think we need to get that in their headspace altogether. Maybe pieces of it if we're trying to make a point. But I think our job as coaches is to figure out how much of that information we disseminate, how much that we use it for our own planning of how to train and work on things that we think will help them get better and move the needle. But it's a new age for sure, because there's a lot out there, and you can stick something on a guy's bat and they'll tell you how the guy swings and how fast it is and what the swing plane is and how long they're in the hitting zone. You can track a pitch from the mound and they'll tell you how far off the mound you're extending, what the spin was like, what the axis of the spin was. So there's a lot of information out there, and it's just the coaches that will be smart with using that information to help the kids get better.
Yeah, it's like us in our golf games now. It's like you got all this stuff, and at some point, just hit the ball down the middle. Just find the ball after you hit it. Sometimes we get too much into information. When I think about the Stanford job, and for you, how special it is, what you did in your great career as a player. Obviously, you went over Cal, which is always interesting, and we could talk about our guys like Mark Canada and Marcus Simeon. And then you come back to your alma mater, and I've always thought, when you got that, Marquez did it forever. That's who we competed against, San Jose State. And I just think about, if you're someone like Coach Shaw in football, I've actually played golf with Mike Montgomery, who said, he liked the money in the Warriors gig, but he wished he never would have left Stanford, because once you get like the Stanford job for yourself, this is what you do for the rest of your career. I mean, just how blessed are just for yourself and the other coaches in your guys' athletic department when you get that job there on the farm. That's not one you want to give up.
Well, just blessed, right? And the stars aligned in the right way for me to have this opportunity. And playing for Coach Marquez and then being an assistant coach for him, you learn a lot about the history of our program and just what this program stood for. I'm a different coach than Coach Marquez, so kind of blending a little bit of what he brought to Stanford and what my personality brings to Stanford, and just kind of taking the torch and trying to keep it going, right? He brought this program at such a high level. He did what no people thought could be done, was to win in a sport like baseball at an academic school like Stanford, win consistently and win a national championship at the highest level. The thing for me that has been the most important is my experience here at Stanford was like no other. I made my best friends, and some of those friends are as close to me as brothers. And the relationships I had with my teammates led us to a national title. So the thing that when I had an opportunity to come here, my first and foremost goal was I want to deliver the same experience that I had at Stanford to my players, which is bring them around good people and just kind of try to help those relationships grow and get them in a good environment that our coaches care about them and that will help them get better. And then I'll take my chances on winning as many games as possible. If I could have the camaraderie in that locker room and the respect of that locker room for the coaches' offices, I'll take my chances on winning games, because I felt like that's kind of the formula Coach Marquez had. And then you really kind of prepare them. You prepare them for the adversity that baseball is going to bring you, and you got to prepare them for the confrontation, which is the heart and soul and the bones and the bones of the game. It's a confrontational game, and we got to prepare them for that one-on-one battle, whether it's pitcher-hitter or hitter-pitcher. And that's the fun part. When you get a chance to compete, that is the fun of baseball. When you're competing against yourself and it's you against your swing and you against your stride or you against your delivery, that's no fun. So it's about getting them ready to play, but really it's the atmosphere of that locker room, which drives me. Is I hope that I can deliver the same experience that the Stanford baseball program brought me.
Now, obviously, in your great career, you've had a lot of players drafted. And, when you're especially at Stanford, you're going to be getting the top players in the country. So these kids are going to get drafted out of high school, and then they're going to get drafted later on after they play for you. So you know a lot about the draft. I just wanted your opinion that we're going to have this combine down in San Diego, which I got to think that it's going to be great. When we go back to the stories that, scouts didn't want to go to New Jersey because most New Jersey kids weren't very good, so they didn't want to go see Mike Trout. So how many teams passed on even looking at Mike Trout? Now we put all the top kids, one spot, one location, all 30 teams, the top evaluators. I'm sure you're, in the next, now that this thing's going to grow, we're going to put it on MLB Network. You're going to be sending a ton of kids there. How do you like this idea?
Well, I think for them, especially all those major league teams, they've kind of done the groundwork throughout the year. They're at our games, home and away with different regional scouts. And I think at that point, when they put them on the same field, they're dotting I's and crossing T's. They're trying to find when on the same field, is what I have been seeing at games. Is there an edge, to one player over another? Is someone's talent matching up exactly like I thought it was? And maybe regionally, across the board, where I don't get to see some West Coast guys versus the East Coast guys necessarily. I may have a guy charted with numbers higher from California than from West Virginia or Connecticut. And when I put them on the field, man, it's closer than I thought. So I think it's their due diligence to try to do their job the best they can and try to make the best decisions they have. So it's going to be interesting when they get the thing rolling. It's much like the football combine. They want to see where the talent is, right? And it may just be physical talent, because I don't know how much competing they will be doing. But I think at least getting that measured will be important for them. But it still comes down to, right, can you play? And I always remember hearing the story of John Madden, where his scouts would come back to him and they talk about, the guy could bench press 225 pounds. This, he could standing broad jump this, and he could run the 40. And he goes, well, let me ask you the most important question. Can he play football?
Yeah, I tell people from my time when I worked for the Oakland Raiders and I was on the sidelines, I went, no matter what, still the main thing is blocking and tackling. If you can't block and you can't tackle, I don't care what your quarterback, I don't care your wide receivers, your skill guys. If you can't win that battle in the trenches, and that's what I always get back to when we overanalyze at this level, obviously big league baseball, but college baseball is like we get so in, as you mentioned, spin rates and all this kind of stuff. The essence of the game, you still got to do the little things. You still got to pick the ball up. You still got to throw it. You still got to take first to third, throw to the right bases. It's the little things that still win games.
Yeah, it doesn't ever get away from pitching and defense, right? It never does. And the little parts of the game, knowing the game, base running, can become that just that margin of victory, right? It's those inches that you put together that can create winning and losing. And you hope to just stack as many of those on your side. Pitching and defense become a big part of those inches, but then it is base running and executing and two-strike hitting and, driving in runners from third with less than 2 outs and taking an extra base, going first to third. And, and it could be just as little as a secondary lead that allows you to take third or score from second on a base hit.
Well, I love doing this because as an old college baseball player in this area, I know college baseball does not get enough press whatsoever, and the excellence that Stanford has always been, and you've continued that great tradition and what you got going here. And I think a lot of our fans here in the Bay Area really have no idea how special Omaha is in the College World Series. It's playing for the national championship game. It is. I say it like that because they understand football and the old BCS games and bowl games. This is playing for the national championship. It's just a tournament style. So good luck against the Huskies. We will be rooting for you, and hopefully next time we talk, you'll be in a different state.
God, I appreciate that. I look forward to that. Yeah, if I could enjoy a steak in Omaha this year at the Drover, I think that would make my summer.
Well, good luck to you, Coach, and hopefully we'll be talking soon.
All right, thanks a lot.
Getting back to the College World Series, Omaha, Nebraska, and the steak is going to taste better. They all say that. Omaha Steak. You ever had Omaha Steaks?
I have actually, yes. Now, when you said Omaha, I was like, are you talking about that or Peyton Manning and his audible call?
I'm talking about the College World Series.
Which Stanford's game tomorrow against UConn. Look for me on TV. I'll be there.
It won't be rained out.
That's for sure.
It's going to be hot as you know what.
Good thing it's a 7:30 and not 1 in the afternoon.
It's a 7:30 game?
On the farm. Or, yeah, I guess the farm. It's still the farm.
I got to admit, the one thing about college baseball that's so miserable, it's got traces of Major League Baseball. It's going to be 3.5 hours, that game.
That game on Monday night I was at against Texas State. It went into the ninth inning, 1-1.
About a little old school A's coffee mug?
1-1 in the ninth inning it went. And then
you like my A's?
Texas State scored 2 runs, and then Stanford obviously walked off.
No one cared.
But
we're talking about my mug.
You were saying what games being long, so I'm just telling you how long that game was. Started at 7, and I didn't leave Sunken Diamond until about 10:30. So 3.5 hours to play a 4-3 game. It's a long time. Why don't they have a pitch clock?
Are you done, or are we going to keep going with college baseball and you?
No, I'm done.
You're done. You're officially done.
Yeah, I'm done.
I hope you're there for 4 hours. Ting, ting. Hearing that all night.
As long as I don't miss Caltrain home.
Do we have time to question a Hall of Fame manager?
Yeah, we have a few minutes.
Should I give Vince Cotroneo a redo today? Did you hear that?
I didn't hear it, but I remember you tell me about it.
Yeah. Vince, I don't know if I'm going to question a Hall of Fame manager. Was this the 60s? It's the 1960s. And Hall of Fame, he's a Hall of Famer. He can do anything he wants because he's a Hall of Famer. Welcome to the news desk here at the San Francisco Chronicle. I think we can question a Hall of Famer.
Do you want to play the play first? Because Benetti and Steve Stone are great at breaking it down.
Okay, so they did it right here. NBC Sports Chicago. Is this it?
Yeah, here.
Okay, here's the breakdown. Dodgers, White Sox. So Freddie Freeman got a base hit. Who was pitching? Souza?
No, Souza's on the Dodgers.
Who was pitching?
It was a lefty, though. Let me get it for you. There's the game. Sorry, I forget who was pitching, but I remember it being a lefty. It was. Oh, you're right. It was Souza, but
it was Souza pitching.
Okay, I kept hearing Souza, and I'm like, wait, I don't know. The Dodgers have Steven Souza Jr. Oh, they were saying Souza on. Okay,
so Freddie Freeman got a base hit.
Yeah,
it's a 1-2 count. There's a wild pitch that puts Freddie Freeman on second base.
Correct.
So with a 1-2 count, can you question a Hall of Fame manager? He throws up the 4 wide ones, which you can immediately just say, go to first base.
Yeah.
So it's a 1-2 count, which, by the way, thank you, Jerry Blevins. I know he's not listening. By the way, Jerry Blevins on the broadcast for the next 3 games.
3 games, yeah.
He was there yesterday, had some very good commentary. Jerry's like me. Jerry's like, that's insane. That's crazy. Just plain crazy that you would walk a guy 1-2. And as Jerry Blevins said, well, you're not going to trust me? Like if you really want me to pitch around him, I can. But 1-2, just walk a guy? So they walk Trey Turner 1-2, base open. Max Muncy then comes up, pitch, I don't know, was it like pitch 5? He hits a 3-run shot. And all the numbers are saying, wait a minute, what the hell is Tony La Russa doing? I've got the numbers. But let's hear Steve Stone and Jason Benetti on NBC Sports Chicago.
Now, wait a second.
They're going to intentionally walk him.
On 1-2?
Yep.
Can you explain that to me?
I would think you don't want Turner to do any more damage, and you want to take advantage of the lefty-lefty.
Typically, at 2 strikes, the league batting average is quite low.
Oh, yeah. It is that.
When was the last time you saw somebody intentionally walked on 1-2?
Didn't happen often.
The guy in the background, Tony, what are you doing?
So I see exactly here in the notes. It has what you just heard, and they have it in print. And at the end of that, when Stone says, Doesn't happen often. The guy you're talking about, it says random dude in crowd. You got 2 strikes, Tony.
I know. I should have left that part in, but I took that part out. But I remember hearing that.
All right.
But Tony's explanation after the game was.
Do you have it?
I do. Here's Tony after the game. I believe he's talking to one of our good friends, Scott Merkin of MLB.com, who covers the Sox.
Friend of the program.
So here's Tony with Scott Merkin.
Can you explain the thought process on the intentional walk with
Turner?
Turner? At 1-2 on the count.
So let me ask you a question. Is there some question about whether that was a good move or not?
Yes.
I guess at 1-2 is the question at the count.
Do you know what he hits against left-hand pitching?
Yes.
With 1-0-1 or 2 strikes? You know what he hits?
Yes, I do.
Well, do you know what Muncy hits with 2 strikes against left-hand pitcher? I mean, is that really a question? Because it was 1 and 2? Turner was a strike left against a left-hander is not something you can avoid if you can. And we had an open base, and Muncy happened to be the guy behind him, and that's a better matchup. Here again, somebody disagrees. That's the beauty of this game. Welcome to it. But that wasn't a tough call.
What?
So you have no faith in your pitcher. I mean, basically at 1-2. I mean, no offense to Trey Turner, but it is 1 and 2. That you just put him on and go after Max Muncy, whose career versus left-handed pitching. Now, Muncy hasn't been great this year, but his career, he's a .252 hitter, slugs .500. He's got a track record career against left-handed pitching.
I just don't get it. Like, Muncy coming into the game had an 850 OPS against left-handers, where Muncy was 830, or an 858 OPS overall and 831 against lefties. Muncy, on the other hand, had a 450 OPS against southpaws. So I just don't understand. Like, in a 1-2 count, MLB hitters have posted a 478 OPS through a 1-2 counter later this season, according to Fangraphs. Turner had a 687 OPS after getting a 1-2 count in 2022 and a 700 OPS against a left-handed pitcher throughout that count for his career.
Say that again.
Turner has an 687 OPS.
680. Okay, you're mixing numbers here. So it's 687.
Yeah, 687 OPS after getting to 1-2 in 2022, and a 700 OPS against left-handers through that count for his career. So he's around the 690 OPS guy around with.
That's nothing special.
No. So
that's this year.
Yeah, it was 687 this year. Yes, with the
in a 1 and 2 count against left-handed pitchers.
Yes.
Okay, Trey Turner against lefties. Does this change it? Trey Turner versus left-handed pitching after 1-2 count since 2021 is hitting .378.
Okay, so maybe walking him was the right call, but if he's hitting .378.
No, walking him wasn't the right call because you gave up a 3-run shot.
True.
We're going to be
Muncy would struggle.
Yes. If Muncy gets out, it's the right call. Hey, every call it's a call you got to make. You either get it right or you get it wrong, right?
It's just, I think the way Tony handled it after the game is just because there was another part of his.
But for the career, this is why I always say, using statistics, using analytics, you have to really understand people can use them to back their points, and you can flip it. It's the old saying. Statistics lie, and liars use statistics. Because then I can turn around and say to you, okay, Cody, what is Trey Turner for his career 1 and 2 against a left-handed pitcher?
I don't have those numbers.
Of course not. It's 254.
You know what Turner hits in at bats when it reached 1-2 this season? 269.
Do you know what Turner hits when he has a bagel before each game?
I don't know.
And do you know what Turner hits when he doesn't put cream in his coffee versus when he does? Do you know what he hits?
No.
You don't know?
No.
What if he put jelly on? What if he toasted the bagel, put butter on it, and it melted, and he put jelly on that bagel before the game, what does he hit?
No idea.
How do you not know that? I mean, it's like, do you have faith in the guy? First of all, the intentional walk is horrible for sports.
Lee said he's threw 4 fingers now, not instead of throwing 4 pitches.
The fact that we have a play that says we're not playing, we're going to sit this one out is not competition.
I agree.
Nor, even though I hear the people arguing when the catcher gets up, and goes like this, and for the other camera, it goes like this, and you go, hey, we're walking you and going like this, and guys can still, that should be outlawed. You should have to pitch. If you want to throw 4 balls outside and the catcher's got to jump outside and get it, that's fine. That to me would be the equivalent, because our buddy Lucas from Australia called up and he goes, Townie, Lucas from down under. And he said, isn't that like football? When the quarterback takes it and drops to a knee? No. A quarterback, a center, still the ball has to start on the ground. The center still has to bring the ball up to the quarterback's hand. There still has to be an exchange between the center and the quarterback. It's still an official play. There's fumbles every weekend in the NFL and in college football on that play. So that's still a play. Quarterback gets it and then can go to a knee. That's still a play. When you throw 4 wide ones up, you're saying, we don't want to play. I hate the intentional walk. You should have to pitch to a guy. Hey, if you want to throw 4 balls over his head, that's fine. You should still have to compete. There should still be competition in every single sport. Hey, I got an idea in golf. When I got a hole that I don't want to play because it doesn't suit my eye, I'm taking this one off. I'm only playing 17 today. I'm not playing 18 because I don't like the way this one looks. Because my numbers, by the way, on this hole, Cody, on number 13, I always double bogey. I'm not playing that hole today.
Just going to skip it?
I'm just skipping it. I'll see you at the next tee.
How many, what is it, a par 4?
Call it whatever you want. I just don't play well. I mean, it's stupid. You should have to play. I hate the intentional walk.
One more thing before we get to Kotsay.
But the fact that we can't, oh my God, you cannot challenge a Hall of Fame manager. Oh, he's in the Hall of Fame. He has a plaque in Cooperstown. How could you even challenge this guy? Really?
Only 116 times prior to this has a batter been intentionally walked after falling behind in a count 1-2. Who has it happened to the most?
Okay, now you're just throwing numbers at me. Say that again.
According to StatHead, only 116 times.
StatHead?
It's baseball reference. It's the thing that.
Oh, I get that email every day from StatHead. Now that
only 116 batters have been intentionally walked after falling behind in a count 1-2. Who has been walked the most and after falling behind in a 1-2 count?
It's got to be Bonds.
Correct. How many times?
There's been 116.
Yeah.
He's 101.
No, 5.
There's been that many guys walked with a 1-2 count.
Oh yeah, the list goes on.
Intentionally walked with a 1-2 count.
After a 1-2 count, Bonds 5, Edgar Martinez 3. I'll just give you top 5. Chili Davis 2, Brian Giles 2, and Von Hayes 2.
Von Purple Hayes, the former Philly.
So there's
it's ridiculous.
Hey, even our good friend Blummer's on here at one time.
Really?
Yeah.
We got text him.
It's very obscure, but yep. Blummer's
What
on
time
here.
are we supposed to do Kotsay?
We can do it right now. It's 15 minutes, so we have time still.
Was he supposed to be 2:30?
Yeah.
Can you challenge anything that like if you get a plaque in the plaque room and you're in the Baseball Hall of Fame, does this now give you a license to never be questioned again?
I don't think so. I think you should be more subject to more criticism.
Can you I mean, anything in life, if they say anything, he's a Hall of Famer.
Well, I think you're subject to more criticism because you're showing that you are one of the best to ever do what you do. You should be able to make the best decisions.
Can I ask Tony why they're 26 and 29?
A lot of injuries.
Well, what about the other guys? They can't play? Was there a reason why you're minus 57
Yeah,
and
their run differential is bad.
Minus 57?
Their starting pitching is supposed to be what saved them. Dallas Keuchel, DFA, now a Diamondback. Lance Lynn on the injured list.
Where is the D-backs AAA? Is that Reno?
Reno, that's where Dan Straley is.
Dallas Keuchel, Reno ace great, next to the Bowling Hall of Fame in the biggest little city in the world.
Him and Dan Straley both probably on the mound.
Dan the K-Man. You get a back-to-back game of Dan the K-Man and Dallas Keuchel.
Good luck. Well, Keuchel doesn't strike a lot of batters anymore.
I can just hear it now. You got some resumes on the mound.
That one guy, he's won a Cy Young and a World Series.
Oh, God. All right, earlier today we caught up with Mark Kotze. It's Friday, and it's time for the Mark Kotze Show. Time now for the Mark Kotze Show, brought to you by NestBetting.com. Love where you sleep. Of course, Nest Betting has locations in the Bay Area, or you go online to NestBetting.com for all of your betting needs. You need a mattress, you need pillows, you need sheets, you name it. Go to one of their stores in the Bay Area or go to NestBetting.com. Use the coupon code Oakland. You get 10% off your entire order. That's NestBetting.com. Kotz, how are you in Cleveland?
Well, it's a beautiful day in Cleveland for sure. We're getting ready to go out and do some early work with the boys and get out there and hit on the velo machine today.
Well, I got to tell you, getting ready for this series, it was kind of shocking to me when I went, okay, for the A's, it's your guys' 59th game. And oh, by the way, Cleveland has only played 52 games. And we talked to Tom Hamilton yesterday on A's Cast Live, their longtime broadcaster. They had 9 cancellations so far this year. I'm like, oh my, I mean, hard to believe. So I'm thankful you guys have great weather because they've had miserable weather and they're going to have a boatload of doubleheaders to try and catch up.
Yeah, it will be a grind once they have to play those doubleheaders and make up these games. We talk about Cleveland and I mentioned how beautiful it is today and it could turn on a dime, just basically being next to this lake and the weather rolls in and next thing you know, you're in a 2-hour rain delay. So we're hopeful we don't have any rain delays this weekend, and we get these games in, and we can pick up a couple W's.
Let's talk about one of your guys who's starting to get his mojo back. And the bottom line is, we know Ramon Lauriano. He hates going down to the minor leagues. He just, let me get in there. He's a bull in a china shop. But obviously, with the suspension, had to go to AAA, shows up. It's just so hard to replicate game speed at the major league level. He gets off to a slow start, but all of a sudden that hitting streak has changed everything for him. What are you seeing from a timing standpoint for Ramon Lauriano?
Yeah, like you mentioned, Townie, for Ramon, it took a minute for him to, I think, feel completely comfortable being back in the locker room, being back amongst, some of his teammates, that core group that, he felt, that he may have let down through this suspension. Ramon and I have talked several times about, how to go forward, how to move forward. And I think he's finally let that go and had those tough conversations with some of his teammates in that locker room. And he feels at least somewhat more comfortable about his environment. And I think that really, when it clicked, he started to take off. And as you talk about, it's never easy, to be away from the game, especially for 80 days for a guy that is so passionate about baseball, that really lives, eats, sleeps baseball. And, when we talk about Ramon Lauriano, we talk about, the player that, will hit a double, take an extra base on a throw and then score a run, and he creates a run all by himself. And we've seen that over the last 2 weeks. We've seen that Ramon that we're used to watching, the incredible catch that he made in right center in a game that was a 13-2, Christian Bethancourt on the mound, and he's still playing the game hard. And that says something about the character of this kid. And I, couldn't be happier about his progress and what he's been able to do offensively for our group, especially over the last 10 days.
Speaking of Bethancourt, now I absolutely hate position players pitching. It drives me nuts. I think it's a mockery of the game. But when you put him out there where he has pitched in professional baseball and he's throwing it, 93 or whatever he's throwing it, when you put him in, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, it is a whole different ball game. Christian Bethancourt was a pitcher for the Padres. They converted him and tried to make that his career path. It didn't, end up being something that Christian, did or continued in his career. But so going to him the other night in Atlanta asking him to pitch, there's both a concern of injury based on knowing that he's probably going to let it go, and he's probably not going to lob it at 58 miles an hour as you are normally, watch from a position player pitching. And sure enough, I think when he threw his first fastball to Olsen, it was 94.5, and you could tell Matt kind of steps back and his eyes went, wow, okay. And then he throws this like 78 mile an hour BP heater, and Matt rolls over. So you're right. It's a little bit more comforting knowing that he can throw strikes because he's a former pitcher, but you never want to get a guy injured as well.
Noticing his game, when he tries to pull the ball, some guys, it's an art form, pulling the ball, and that's what they do. And then there's other guys that really have that power that if they stay inside the ball and they take it to right center, it really plays for him. And I've noticed lately for Bethancourt, as his numbers start to get better, the fact that he's driving the ball to right center, whether it's for a home run or it's for a double, it just seems to be that's where the ball plays off its bat best. What are you seeing with him at the plate as he looks like he's getting better?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you in terms of his strength, and his strength is to that right center gap. He's got, I've talked about it in the past that we were waiting for this power. He hadn't hit a home run in, I think it was 5 years. And at that point, when you watched him take BP, you knew there was big power, and it's shown up in the last 5 to 10 days. His path is cleaned up. He's on the baseball. Last night here in Cleveland, he hit 4 balls. You couldn't have hit him any harder. And, I think if he was a millimeter under 2 of the baseballs, he probably would have hit 3 home runs last night. So it's good to see him heating up. It's good to see him having some success and being a part of the offense now.
When you think about good stories, Jared Koenig is an unbelievable story. His college story, his independent ball story, his story down to Australia. I mean, you name it, everywhere this kid went, you'd think there's no way he's going to make the big leagues. Too many obstacles, too many hurdles. So when you were able to tell him, here's the ball, go get him, what was that like? And was it like for all you guys to know about this, know his story and how he got to the big leagues and how special it is?
Yeah, we talked about it Little Townie in spring training that this season was going to have, there's going to be opportunity for guys to make their debuts, and how special that was going to be for these guys, and the grind that it took for Christian Bethancourt to get back to the big leagues and to have his, first major league at bat in several years, and the grinds that these guys go through. And as you talk about Koenig, that's an amazing journey and a perseverance, the grit that it took to just keep going and handing him the ball and, seeing the pure excitement, the pure joy. Yes, there was some nerves as every young man that takes the mound for the first time at a major league ballpark, especially that in Atlanta against the World Series championship team with a 40,000 crowd, the sellout crowd. I thought Jared handled himself really well.
Yeah, no, it's good to see. And, when we talk about a year discovery and that's what we call it on the post-game show of trying to, you got to find guys that can help you now and find guys who can help you in the future. I know his age is not, not really looking for the future, but I'm kind of like, I want to see more of him. Why not? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, you will see more of him. He's going to get another opportunity to start here and against another great caliber team in Boston. And I think the nerves will be somewhat subdued for him. I think he's recognized some things. I talked to him yesterday just about what you take away from your first big league start. And he said, well, the biggest noticeable difference is that these big league hitters, they don't expand. They don't swing outside the zone very often. And, that there's a separator there with the levels as each level you go up, but from AAA to the big leagues, especially that Atlanta lineup, those guys didn't expand, they didn't swing out of zone, and when you force a pitcher to get inside that zone, it generally benefits the hitter. But he's definitely going forward, learned from the first experience, and I expect him to go out and be better next time out.
When I look at Cap's outing yesterday, and I just think of Catfish Hunter, and he gave up 2 solo home runs. It's just 2 runs. So when I evaluate it and I evaluate him, I go, okay, not a bad start. I would have liked to have seen him gone longer in the game. How do you think? Obviously, you're always going to be concerned with his health. Where is he right now? How do you see Cap where we are right now in the season and going forward?
Yeah, I thought it was a good outing for Cap. You're looking for that balance between sending him back out for that 6th inning and having him go through the 2, 3, 4 part of that lineup, which is all left-handed, which, all 3 of those hitters had hits against him in their previous at-bat. So you evaluate, getting Cap out on a positive note, even though he gave up 2 solo home runs to 2 really good hitters. You want him to leave that game with a good feeling, and I think that he did. He should have left that game with a good feeling, only giving up 2 runs through 5 innings. We went to our bullpen where we felt we had good matchups. AJ Puck comes in against those 3 lefties, and for us, it's always about giving these guys the best opportunity to have success and matching them up. And unfortunately, there towards the end, we couldn't get our job done, and ended up on the wrong end of that game last night.
When you look at managing a bullpen, now that you've been doing this for a while and obviously all the years being on the bench, what do you think really is the main key to managing a bullpen? Because there's so many guys down there, hot, cold, just what do you think the key is?
Yeah, I don't know if there's one key. I think obviously it's every day you evaluate which guys you feel, are having the best success, and you also take into you evaluate whether or not their workload has impact on them. You've got to be able to take care of their arms as well, because it is a long season. So, grinding on the one hot guy and utilizing him to get through games every day ends up in the long run most likely wearing them down. So there's a balance to it. I think we're constantly looking at the matchups. We're constantly looking at, as you talked about, who's hot, who's throwing the baseball well, and trying to line them up to get us through a game.
Yeah, I got to think it's tough when you're like, boy, I really would like to pitch him, but I've thrown him 3 out of the last 4 days. But, boy, I would really like to pitch him. Like, if you got a hot guy, you want to run him out there all the time. Obviously, you can't, but that's got to be so tough as a manager, knowing who's hot and going, I can't use my best.
The thing that comes to the front of my mind is watching Joe Torre use his bullpen, and I think it was Daniel Robertson maybe who set up for Mariano Rivera. He would pitch, as you talk about, 4 out of 5, and for us nowadays, not only would we probably have upper management down our throat, but we'd probably have the training staff out there before we even decided to bring him into the game, saying, "Hey, you've used him 4 out of 5 days. Like that's enough." So again, we're looking at the health, we're looking at the longevity of these guys, and trying to keep them healthy throughout the long season.
Well, let's end on this. Your buddy Phil Nevin, another Cal State Fullerton guy, is now the manager of the Los Angeles Angels. I know you know Phil really well. You got to be happy for him. What do you? And people have said it for years. They think Phil Nevin's going to be a manager. What were your first thoughts when you heard about him taking over for Joe Madden?
Yeah, well, I obviously have a good, really close relationship with Phil, and I couldn't be happier for him. He's persevered for a long time. His journey in coaching started out in I believe at Fullerton, managing an independent team. I want to say that was 2011 or 2012 when he got done playing. So he's grinded a long time. He's put a lot of hard work in to this career path, and well deserved. And I think Phil's the right guy for that job. He's got a huge heart. He's very emotional and passionate about his players. And one of the things, Townie, that I'd like to talk about, from our standpoint is honoring our head coach at Cal State Fullerton with Augie Garrido. And I know Augie's up there looking down on us and smiling. And I couldn't be more proud to have mentored under him and to be able to call Augie a friend.
We just had David Esker on the program, the head coach of Stanford, and you know how good Stanford's program is. And Esker played for their national championship teams in the 80s. Then he was the coach at Cal for Mark Canna and Marcus Simeon. Then he's gone back to his alma mater. And I know what he has meant to some of our A's players over there in Cal, and now what he's doing at Stanford. And these college coaches, they do so much for people. I recently had my old head coach on at San Jose State, who you competed against, Sam Ferraro, for many, many years. And what these guys do for us, they educate us, they teach us. And Augie Garrido, one of the greats, whether it's Fullerton or what he did at Texas, we don't praise these guys enough. And I'm glad that you did that, because you think of all the tremendous players that went through Cal State Fullerton and learned from your old head coach.
Yeah, we were really blessed. We were blessed to have a great man lead us and teach us, like you talk about, not only the game of baseball, but the value of relationships in life and what it really means, the impact it can have. And, I'm so thankful to have gone there, to have played for Augie. And I know Phil would say the same.
All righty. Enjoy the rest of Cleveland, then Fenway Park, and we'll see you back in Oakland.
Sounds good, Townie. Thanks again.
How good is that? By the way, had to educate here the young man to my right when we start talking about Augie Garrido, who he's talking about, the legendary coach at Fullerton and then Texas. You like college baseball? You really don't know Augie Garrido, who was technically modern day. I know Rob Dato got a lot of praise for USC, but that was way before. I mean, Augie Garrido won national championships at two different colleges.
I think the thing that blew me away most when he showed me is he's 1,000 games over 500 in his career as a coach.
Won a national championship in 1979, and his last one was in 2005.
That's
that's a long time.
Let's see. He coached at Sarah High School and SF State and Cal Poly are some of his stops, before Cal State Fullerton and Texas. Oh, and a brief stop at Illinois.
5-time national champion.
It's really good.
And he did it during your lifetime, so it's not like this is old.
Well, not 79, but
2002, 2005, he brought it home.
That's good. I was
5 national championships.
12 and 15. No, it would have been 15 and 17, somewhere around there.
In the College Baseball Hall of Fame, and of course, yeah. And by the way, whoever's trying to start this thing about there's now 3 Cal State Fullerton players who are now managers in the big leagues. Gabe Kapler never played at Cal State Fullerton. He got shown the door after 2 weeks. He never played in a game. I don't know where you guys are coming up with this. I don't know where you saw it.
I heard it somewhere.
Gabe Kapler never played at Cal State Fullerton.
I just know that I heard it. I can't remember where I heard it from. I don't know if it was Buster's podcast or something, and they mentioned it, but or somewhere. But I remember hearing it somewhere. But if you look at Kapler's page, it says he went to Cal State Fullerton.
Oh, he might have attended a class. Right? Let's see. What does it say?
Yeah, there it is. Attended Cal State Fullerton in the fall of 1993.
Okay.
For 1 semester.
College baseball is not in the fall. It's a spring sport.
I didn't know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he never played. He was there for, according to Mark Kotze, because I asked Mark, I was like, yeah. He's like, he was there for 2 weeks. Yeah, he may have gone to school. I've done summer school at places. Does that mean I'm where did I do something? I did a class at Grossmont College.
I took a class at Harvard online. my Harvard graduate.
Are you now a Harvard alum?
I have a friend that claims that he went to Arizona because he did his freshman year, first semester there. He goes, yeah, my school, Arizona. I'm sorry, do you have a degree that says you went to University of Arizona?
There is something about that, though, that you can claim you're an alum if you didn't graduate. I don't know the technical rules.
Well, so if that's true, I went to Harvard.
So
besides going to Harvard on the Mon, California University.
Kapler attended Cal State Fullerton in the fall of 1993, which means he didn't play. He never played a game there. He went to junior college after. He basically, Augie Garrido showed him the door after 2 weeks. Wasn't having any of Hollywood Gabe Kapler back in the day.
Yeah.
Because supposedly Gabe Kapler at 18 was a, my sources say he was a load. Let's put it at that.
Real quick before we go.
Have we missed anything we've gotten to? Oh, the greatness of Ohtani.
We can play the highlights real quick.
I mean, this is once in a lifetime.
Let's play this one first. This is the strikeout of Rafi Devers. Just take a listen. This is Gooby and Patrick O'Neill on Bally Sports West.
2 down and the 2-2 to Devers. And he got him. 101. Wait a second. Is that a freeway to 101? Oh. Gas gets some.
Look how Southern California Gooby's become. I know when I say it, I'll have people, you don't live in Southern California. It's not the. Yes, in Southern California, for some reason, I don't know why, we grow up and we say the in front of our freeways.
My wife still
the
says
101.
It. My wife still says it.
Yeah, I do too all the time. Even though I've lived my entire adult life in Northern California. Ever since college, I've been here. I've lived here way longer than I've lived in Southern California. I grew up in San Diego, but my entire adult life, everything, college, marriage, kids, career, everything has been in the city of San Jose, which according to Cody isn't the Bay Area now. I've lived my entire life other than 18 years in San Diego. But yes, I still go the 280, the 101, the 880. And if you don't like it, stick it. I don't care.
Real quick.
How about Gooby's from New Jersey, right?
I'll take your word for it.
I'm pretty sure he's from Jersey.
Do you call it the Bart?
No.
I hear people when they say
Bart.
the Bart.
Bart.
I'm going to take the Caltrain. Okay. Where are you taking the Caltrain to?
Mark Gubaza. I want to say he's from Jersey. And I don't really have
Philadelphia.
Oh, he's Philly. Same thing. Philly, Jersey, it's all the same.
I almost said something about Philadelphia and Jersey, but
wow, your Pennsylvania hate for Eastern PA.
I couldn't tell the two between Philly and anywhere in New Jersey.
I am a fan of Philadelphia. I have enjoyed my time whenever I've been in Philadelphia.
It's okay.
The fighting city of Philadelphia. Go ahead.
Let's play the other highlight. This is something Ohtani did later in the game.
Drives that one, hit well. Shohei Ohtani has done it. He's back in the saddle. 2-1 Angels. Shohei, the home run. 2-run home run, providing the help he needed on a swing the other way, left center.
So, Ohtani, I got a couple notes real quick to give you. That was his 12th home run of the season, but his first since May 29th when he hit 2 homers against the Blue Jays. That homerless drought spanned 9 games of 44 plate appearances. That pitch he threw was 101 miles per hour. That's tied for the 3rd fastest of his career. It's the fastest pitch since 101 mile per hour, 101 mile per hour pitch on 4/4 of 21. So April 4th of last year. That's for him. It's also the fastest strikeout pitch he's ever thrown. Only him and Luis Gonzalez, yes, Giants outfielder Luis Gonzalez, hit home runs in the game.
Gonzo, friend of the program?
That they've pitched in this year. So there's some Ohtani. And that's the 6th time, not my research, Sarah Langs texted me the answer. 6 times now Ohtani's hit a home run over 100 miles an hour, exit velo, and thrown a pitch that's over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, you just can't. It's incredible, man. It's literally, it's incredible. Is he the best player in baseball? No. But pretty safe to say he is. He's the most exciting. There's no one like him. We've never seen anything like it. And I hope that what he's doing will allow future players who have this kind of talent, like a Mark Kotsay, to have this opportunity to at least try it. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would like to see more two-way players now that we got, a lot of injuries going on, which we can get into later with pitchers. Now that Casey Mize is now out for the year having Tommy John surgery.
Guys, I've been telling you, we're at a tipping point. They're running out of guys. There's not enough good pitchers in the world. We're a world game, so people play all over the world. We do not have. You can add as many roster spots as you want. We do not have enough pitchers in the world to pitch the innings that we need. Starters have to go longer. All righty, my friend. Good stuff. Enjoy Stanford tomorrow.
Yeah, go Cardinal.
Where can I go with you?
We can find you a ticket probably.
What time's the game?
7:30.
I'll be working. What time's our game tomorrow?
It's in the afternoon. It's like a 1:00 game, I think.
I'm just gonna have fun.
You'll be done by then.
Hey, you coming on Sunday morning with us at 7:30?
I'll pass.
Oh, okay. Coming up next, huh?
I was gonna say, remember, 7:35, Ace Total Access, 8:35 first pitch on Sunday.
I want to know actually how many people are listening on Sunday morning at 7:30. It's going to be me and a cast of thousands. Everybody, thank you for listening to Ace Cast Live. We want to thank David Esker, the head coach of Stanford Cardinal. Good luck to you. We want to thank Glenn Kuiper for coming on before tonight's broadcast, and Mark Kotze, the manager of your Oakland Athletics. A's Total Access brought to you by Chevron. Coming up moments. Have a great weekend, Cody. All of you have a great weekend. Stay cool. Get in the pool. Go to the beach. But listen to A's Baseball on A's Cast.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive